Hi, I'm Jamie Davis here from GEMS and EMS Today 2015 here in Baltimore. Of course, I'm the host as well of the MedicCast, but we're here doing this segment for GEMS, and we're interested to talk with Gordon Graham about some of the topics you've been presenting about. And before we do that, I'd like you to introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about your background.
Gordon Graham here, and I have an interesting background. I've been very fortunate. I was with the California Highway Patrol for 33 years, 10 years as a motorcycle cop and 10 years as a sergeant, and 13 years assigned to various headquarters spots, but did that job, loved it. While in the Highway Patrol, I went to graduate school and picked up a degree in risk, and then I went to law school, and I've been a lawyer for 33 years, and still have an active practice, but I spent a lot of time going around giving people advice on how to stay out of trouble.
So you talked a little bit this week here at EMS Today about the EMS culture of accountability. And I'd just like you to just tell me, what exactly does that mean? I mean, we've talked a lot about different things over the years about culture of safety and culture of different ways of changing our corporate culture within our different organizations. But what does it mean to have a culture of accountability?
This is a great question, because a lot of people are throwing the world around, the word accountability. There's a lack of accountability, you know.
Yeah.
We lack accountability. Oh my God, the accountability is terrible. People just don't have accountability. Well, what do you mean?
Yeah, exactly.
What do you mean? Accountability all gets down to one word: systems. Systems. Long before I ever went to law school, I did my graduate work at USC, the Institute of Safety and Systems Management. And it was a program designed for military leaders on how to improve the risk culture in the military, understanding risk. I was the non-military person. I'm sitting there listening and saying, how come we're not talking about this in law enforcement? Systems. Accountability starts when everybody in the organization, from the top down, understands their role with respect to systems, the policies, the procedures. For the executives, their accountability starts with building good policies, keeping them up to date. That's key. Their accountability continues with making sure they have an audit process in place to make sure the rules are in fact being followed. Their accountability continues in promoting women and men into the ranks of supervision and management who've got the guts to be supervisors and managers. And their accountability continues with having a discipline system in place where when people think that rules don't apply to me, the arrogant, the ignorant, the complacent, that they get addressed proactively. That's executive accountability. For supervisors and mid-managers, their accountability is different.
Okay.
The primary mission of a supervisor is enforcement of organizational policy, systems implementation. Your team, your crew, your unit, they have these policies and procedures. Your job is to make sure that they're following the darn things. And if you're a line employee, the primary responsibility of a line employee is accountability. Know the policies that apply to your job. And I don't care if it's the reflective vest policy, the harassment policy, the 2-in, 2-out policy, the FLSA policy, the triage policy, the intubation policy. You know the policies and you follow the darn things, not some of the time, not most of the time, but all of the time. And when everybody understands their role in accountability, then things go right and we avoid problems.
So really, I mean, if you're addressing other types of corporate cultural issues, organizational culture issues, like cultures of safety, if you have an appropriate culture of accountability in place, and you have people who have policies in place regarding safety, then that culture of safety should come about if you have a good culture of accountability.
The absolute same thoughts. For the executives in here, you got to build those good rules. You got to make sure they're being taken seriously. You got to have your audit process in place. And not to digress, seatbelts.
Yeah.
Seatbelts, don't even get me started. Oh, by the way, they don't even call them seatbelts anymore. What do they call them? Oh, that's right. They're a system. They're a restraint system. They're properly designed. They're kept up to date. All you got to do is wear the darn thing.
Yep.
And look at how many cops are getting ejected from cars. Look at how many firefighters are getting ejected from cars.
And
please do not, and EMTs and paramedics.
Yep.
And please don't give me this stuff, well, they're reserves. I don't care. There are people. You know, we've got to get them wearing it. You know, and if the bosses build the good policy, and they're still hesitant to make mandatory, well, we got to give them an option. No. Well, you know, we're exempt under state law. You're not exempt from the laws of physics, my friend. Wear the seatbelts. And you got to have that audit to make sure they're wearing them. You got to have supervisors enforcing the policy. It's the exact same stuff. You pointed it out very clearly.
Yeah, and I think it's so important. So what do you do to get this started in the right direction? You have culture of accountability. Maybe you don't have that culture of accountability in place. It cannot, I don't believe for any organization that it can be just done overnight. So what are some initial steps that somebody can take if they're in a leadership position in the organization that can start that in the process moving?
You said the right word, because a lot of people say if they're in a management position, and right then I correct them. There's a huge difference between leadership and management.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And we got too many managers who think they're leaders. They're not a leader.
Yeah.
You're a manager. You're not looking into the future. You're not strategically thinking. You're not taking a look at what can go wrong and what can I do up front. You're enforcing existing stuff. No, the leaders are looking into the future. So if you truly have a leader in your organization, he or she's already figured this out because they study high reliability organizations. If you're in organization X and you're saying, geez, I think we could do better, who is similarly situated to me?
Okay.
Well, look at that paramedic agency over there that won all those awards. What are they doing different? How can I mirror them? And right away, it falls right back into this thing. They've got leadership, not just management, but leadership over there doing it, inculcating these systems approaches into the workforce so that things get done right and we avoid the tragedies.
I think that's so important. So what are the final takeaways that when you talk to people about systems of accountability, what is the thing you tell people as they leave the talk or leave the room that you want them to keep in mind as they move forward? Because this is such an important thing. We're so caught up, and I imagine police officers are the same way, in doing things the way we've always done it, that we don't need to change, that we have this entrenched culture of stagnancy.
Yep. This is the great divide between private sector and public sector, by the way. Private sector's figured it out. If you're not continually looking for the next best way, you're out of business.
Right.
And I'm not being rude here, but government as a rule and public safety included, we're so locked in, we've always done it this way, it's unbelievable. We've always done it. We've always hired people this way. We've always promoted people this way. It won't work. If I had $1 for every time I came up with an idea and people told me it won't work, I'd have a couple extra $1 million. We've got to, and what I'm looking at, and I'll just be very blunt with you, I've given up talking to executives because they're going to be leaving soon, and many of them are just counting the days. I'm going after those supervisors today, the future, the leaders of the organization, and I'm convincing them this is what you need to do. You need to be taking this stuff very seriously. Your role as a leader in the organization. Here are some books you need to read. Here are some people you need to listen to. Here are the things you need to be doing right now today so that when you finally get that opportunity, you're going to step in and start going 100 miles an hour toward that path of a high reliability organization where things get done right, people get done, treated right, and we avoid problems.
Well, Gordon, I thank you very much for chatting with me about systems of accountability, and I want to thank all of you for checking out this segment here for GEMS and EMS Today 2015. I'm Jamie Davis, the Pod Medic, and of course you can always find me over at mediccast.com. Okay, so we'll now jump in and do the second segment on background investigations. Great. Okay. Okay. EMS Today. Okay. Hi, Jamie Davis here from EMS Today 2015 here in Baltimore, and of course you can follow all of the things that are going on here at EMSToday.com. I'm here with Gordon Graham, who was one of the keynote speakers here at this event. And Gordon, we're going to be talking a little bit about what everybody needs to know about background investigations. And I'm assuming we're talking about workplace and getting that new employee hired. But if we don't check into them and know a little bit about who they are, we could be buying some trouble for ourselves and our organization.
Yeah, no kidding, Jamie. I spent a lot of time as a lawyer handling tragedies. Long before law school, I did my graduate work in systems and risk. Anybody can fix problems after they occur. Risk managers don't handle tragedies. We study and we look for cause. Now, if you walk up to a lawyer and ask them what causes tragedies, oh, this happened, this happened, this happened. They have all the proximate causes, the event that immediately preceded the tragedy. You walk up to a real risk manager, ask her the same question or him the same question. They don't start with the proximate cause. They go way back in time, and they look for the problems lying in wait. I've studied tragedies around the world in multiple professions. It doesn't make any difference. It gets down to 5 things: people, policy, training, supervision, and discipline. Now, we're not focusing today on policy, training, supervision, and discipline. You asked me about people. You start studying enough tragedies, and you look for what caused it. The question becomes, who was this guy? Where did he come from? There are 4 key components in getting and keeping good people. You got to recruit. If your applicant pool's an applicant puddle, that's a problem lying in wait. You got to do comprehensive background investigations, and please note the motto for there: comprehensive. Number 3, we got to take probation seriously, and number 4, performance evaluations. So the only one we want to focus on right now is the background investigations. Here's a hint: the best predictor of future behavior is past behavior. Past habits become future habits. Leopards don't change their spots. You can't change the immoral to moral. How many ways you want me to put it to you?
I think you've hit it.
If you hire bad people, they will always be bad people. Oh no, they'll get better. No, they won't. They will. No, they won't. This is not fine wine from Niagara Valley. This is wine in a box from some punk place. We gotta get quality people.
Yeah.
And that starts with recruiting a wide, broad, deep applicant pool, and then selecting people from that applicant pool, comprehensive background investigations. Well, Gordy, what do you mean by comprehensive?
Yeah, that's the next
comprehensive. Hey, well, we do a criminal history check. Well, good for you. Do you know what the difference is between having a criminal history and not having a criminal history?
They got caught.
Getting caught.
Yeah.
They're stupid, okay? You know, getting caught, that's the key. No, you need comprehensive background investigations, and that starts with a detailed personal history statement, the applicant's own words of who they are throughout their entire life, what they've done. And maybe that'll be multiple pages of personal history statement. It's a fancy word for application. And then we need qualified background investigators. If you don't have them inside your department, you need to farm it out to your local police, maybe, or get a retiree to do it who's been trained in this, or a private investigator to do this. I don't care how you do it. Get somebody qualified doing it. And essentially what they do is they verify everything that's on the PHS with what they find out in reality about this person. And you will be amazed what happens when you really start looking. You will be amazed. A lot of the things they say on their application are not true, not even close to true. We're on a different wavelength completely between what we find out in the background check. And I could tell you stories for the next 20 years about the lies that are on these applications and what we find out after tragedies occur, when the news media gets involved and they do the big post-incident background investigation, and they learn about all the stuff that we should have known.
The lies and things you should have known to begin with.
Long time before that.
And that's a big hot button issue in the news right now, is people saying they did something or accomplished some task or feat and didn't accomplish the thing they said they did, and they get called on it.
Yeah.
And it's in the news.
There's news people in the news.
Yep.
There's a news, all these things going on. Elected officials.
Right.
Oh, yeah, I've got my doctorate from Supreme Allied Commander University. You've never been to school in your life. I've got this, I've got that, I've got this. Oh, yeah, I was in the foreign wars over there. And my God, aren't people going to check this? This is not Abraham Lincoln going from train stop to train stop where you can tell a different story every time the train stops. Anybody can look stuff up online instantly and find out what's true. And yet people figure out they can get away with this stuff. Boy, those days are gone.
So with so many people maybe creatively padding their applications out there with some extra skills and things, does this mean you're never going to find the right person or find somebody who doesn't, who is completely honest on their application?
There are plenty of people out there who are telling you the truth. There are plenty of people. They've got the skills, the abilities. But what you got to do is weed out the losers. You got to go through those things, find out who's puffing, who's not telling you the truth. You got to identify those women and men who've got the necessary knowledge, skills, and abilities to do the high-risk job. Those are the women and men we need to bring on board.
And then you build a successful organization from that.
Absolutely. People are not stupid. If they know that you've got a bunch of losers in the department, I'm not going to that department. There's a lot of other organizations I can go to where there's top-notch people. That's where I want to join. I don't want to hang out with a bunch of thugs who think it's okay to mistreat people based on race or sex orientation, or it's okay to tell this or tell that. That's unacceptable behavior these days. I want to work for a top-notch organization. So if you hire good people, you're going to attract good people. Excellent. Don't forget, your best recruitment tool also is your own people.
Yeah, they truly are.
If you hire a bunch of drug dealers, who are they going to recruit? Other drug dealers?
Yes.
If you hire a bunch of good, solid people, they're going to be bringing good people in the door with them.
That's fantastic. Well, Gordon, thank you very much for sharing with us, and we'll be doing more, hopefully, with comprehensive background checks here in the future.
Good.
And I want to thank all of you for checking out this segment here from EMS Today 2015. I'm Jamie Davis, the Pod Medic from MedicCast.com, and you can find more segments like this one over at EMSToday.com.